The following AOR livestream is brought to you by the following sponsors: Elgato Gaming, Hype Energy Drinks, GT Omega Racing and Thrustmaster. Make sure to check them out in the description below after the stream. Hello and welcome back to Apex Online Racing for live coverage of the F1 2018 League with Hype Energy. We are on the PlayStation 4 and bringing you lights to flag coverage of F2. This week it's the final race before the Christmas break and it's from Silverstone for the British Grand Prix. The circuit, built on an old RAF airfield, hosted the first ever F1 World Championship race in 1950, and since 1987 it has been the permanent home of the race after spending years alternating with Aintree and predominantly Brands Hatch. The circuit we see today came about due to a major facelift in the late 2000s, but many a driver still love the high-speed nature of the track. Tyres tonight are the yellow soft tyres, the white medium tyres, and a season debut for the blue banded hard tyre for 26 laps of high-speed action, and with 3 DRS zones available, much more to add into the mix as well. Now, last week at an action-packed Austrian Grand Prix, it was a first win of the season for Casper after timing his switch to the intermediate tyres to absolute perfection. Can he double up tonight before we finish off for the Christmas period? My name is Andy, and joining me as always in the commentary box is Ollie. Ollie, one more time round the block, my friend, before Chris Kringle shows up in a week's time. How do you see this one going this evening?
Well, you mentioned the 3 DRS zones, and I'll be honest with you, I don't think we're going to see much of that in this first qualifying session because we've got rain here and it is pretty torrential. And normally with qualifying sessions like this, you see the guys rapidly going out. And I've been looking and I've been keeping an eye, and I've only seen 3 cars go out. I think the first one's going to be Vettel, Ferrari's going out. It's starting to get a couple go out there, but obviously most of them will have practiced and prepared on dry setups, so they're obviously having to make late adjustments to their cars to get them out in time. So it's going to be interesting here because it's kind of threw a spanner in the works, and it makes you think, is it going to be a wet race? We'll see if we can find out from one of the drivers whether it's a wet race or not, but it's really going to be a really interesting event here. I'm really looking forward to it. 17 drivers. We've got some of the quick guys here. You've got RC Spider, of course, Sean as well up there. It's kind of changing who's going to challenge Sean in the championship quite frequently, but I know there's a few guys that are very, very competitive around here, and it's obviously for a lot of these guys their home Grand Prix, so we'll keep an eye out on things. We'll look to see who can do what, but it's promising to be a very interesting qualifying session.
Definitely so. The rain just froze into the mix. The weatherman in pit lane, Casper, has always given us the weather update. The race is going to be dry, so it's just a wet qualifying but a dry race, so we will see the 3 DRS zones in the race. One of them will be here as we're with VP Vettel Racer coming down the hangar straight towards Stowe Corner. We're going to see quite a bit of action towards there. We're going to jump on board with the Sauber driver in just a moment's time as he comes through the final section, and we'll take you on a lap of the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit. 18 turns, 3.66 miles in total, and we come through the final section across the start-finish line. This is obviously the newer start-finish line compared to the old version of the track as we head up towards turn number 1 into Abbey Curve. It'll be probably near flat out in race pace through Farm Curve the second turn, and then into the loop section, onto the brakes, down to third gear. You can see Vettel is sawing away at the steering wheel, and then down to the next part. You need to get a good run out of here. He keeps it in third gear to keep the wheel spin down, and then out of the loop section and onto the Wellington straight. This will be the second DRS zone. The first one will be down at the front main straight. Coming up towards Brooklands Corner, it's very easy to get this one wrong in my opinion, as it's a very quick corner, very deceptive on the entry. It looks a lot wider, and then Luffield seems to just go on and on forever. You can see the Sauber driver sawing away at the wheel, and then across the old start finish line through Woodcote Corner, and then heading up to probably one of the most famous sections of Grand Prix track for the next couple of bits. Copse Corner first of all, even in the rain, they're just under 150 miles an hour in 6th gear, and then we come up to the famous Maggots and Beckett section, through the right then the left, left then the right, and then into the other left, and then into Beckett's itself, and then Chapel Corner onto the hangar straight, the third DRS zone as I said earlier, around this track, go under the bridge, heading up towards Stowe Corner. Not the biggest braking zone here, you come down to about 5th gear, but in terms of speed in the rain, as you can see, down to 100 miles an hour. You can usually carry around about 120, 130 through there, and then up to the final two corners. Could see some overtaking into here. Down to third gear goes Vettel, into the club chicane. Easy to get the power on and slide wide there, and then through the final corner. The line comes up pretty quickly. He sets the first lap, so 1 minute 41.3 from the Sauber driver, and that was a lap off the Silverstone International Circuit.
Yeah, I'm looking further down where Cherry 2 plays, and he's got one hell of a train of cars behind him. A Ferrari, Casper, his teammate as well, and there was a lot of bunching up and backing up through the final section from a lot of these guys. A good lap from Vettel, especially to get out so cleanly at the moment. Cherry 2 has improved and gone fastest there, so a good set of time. Leclerc, they're doing a really good job on his debut in that Williams car. So yeah, I feel like a lot of them are trying to find some track space, trying to get some comfortable spots almost. Davidos was behind Cherry 2 for much of that lap. That's why he's in a 1 minute 45. If you look, actually, he's following him quite tightly there. So yeah, a lot of bunching up. So then first set of times, I'll be honest with you, I'm not going to take too much into it because I imagine them times are going to come down quite dramatically. I think the perfect man to look onto is actually Leclerc. If you look as he's heading down, coming into one of my personal favourite sections of track down by Love Hill, it's so congested at the moment that these guys are really going to struggle to find some track really to put the maximum pace on. So, you know, oh blimey, in fact one of the Ferraris of Davidos has gone off down the old start-finish straight completely. So yeah, that just shows how the conditions are really difficult for these guys. He's gone off, he's now finding himself in a bit of a cul-de-sac. He's going to have to try and rejoin here, and yeah, it is really tight with these guys at the moment. And you think with the size of the track and how large it is, obviously spanning two counties in Buckinghamshire and Northamptonshire, that you'd imagine that they'd be able to find enough space on track, but clearly not at the moment. So yeah, it is Leclerc from Lee Findlay currently your top two.
Yeah, definitely. So Leclerc is now the new reserve driver for the tier, and looking in the chat already, getting a bit of support already, quite a few comments for the newcomer, and brilliant to see people along as well to watch it. And he's currently provisional pole with that 1 minute 40, and just as I say that, the H Eagle puts in a 1 minute 39.5, 8 times quicker nearly than Leclerc's lap time. It's still a good lap time from Leclerc in the Williams. He is. We've got to just point out Blizzard. There he is, usually in the Renault. He's in a Mercedes this week, and for some reason it doesn't look like he picked the car in time, so the game's just basically picked it for him. So we're used to seeing him in the yellow and black machine, but he's picked up the Mercedes here tonight. No Jundu and no Ruben as well, so he's got that car all to himself as he's coming through the club chicane now to set his first lap time. He's going to be down though on the pole position. He's already over 1 minute 40 as he comes through the final corner, and he's obviously invalidated that as well because he doesn't go onto the lap board. Nico coming across the line as well, looks like he's invalidated his lap as well because he's still to set a lap time. And here comes Tactician through back Beckett's and through Chapel Curve down the hangar straight in the Red Bull. Now, nice little bit of info in regards to Tactician. He is the biggest gainer at the start of races, 3.9 places he's gained, but in qualifying he's 5-2 down on his teammate Big Parenta in the qualifying spec, so has much better races it seems than he does in qualifying. As he comes through the club chicane, he's got one of the Ferraris, might be Sean behind him or Davidos. We'll keep an eye out and see if any of their times change. Tactician crosses the line, he only goes 14th with that. It was Sean behind him who moved up another place into 4th, so your top 5 at the moment is the H Eagle from VP Vettel Racer, RC Spider, Sean and Leclerc are your top 5.
Yeah, it's all starting to get a little bit squeaky bum time at the moment. If you know, just under 10 minutes to go, and these guys are all set a lap at least. A lot of them though are going out for multiple times, as you see quite frequently with wet weather tyres. A lot of guys will go out there and set one lap, which will be a good banker, and then gradually, because they'll have heavier fuel on, they'll chip away at that time, find some more grip, because there isn't too much degradation on the wet tyres at the moment. They're all going to be pretty comfortable and trying to find as much consistency, and the more comfortable you get with this track, of course, when it's in the wet conditions, the more likely you are to improve, which is why, of course, H Eagle at the moment is top. Vettel in second, he's just improved upon his lap to move up into second. So yeah, it's probably wise for a lot of these guys to go out onto a longer set of fuel, but if I was them, the best thing to go about would be to just have this first run, heavy fuel, get yourself a lap, because you're not starting on these times, of course. I'd then pit around about 4 minutes to go go on low fuel, one flying run, or maybe two, one warm-up, and then go for it. But yeah, it's at the moment a bit interesting as well. Davidos is no longer that 5-second man. I'm on board with Cherry 2 Pies, going down the old start-finish straight, heading into Copse Corner. And blimey, he was all over the place, almost went into the wall. We've done quite well to save that, in fact, just showing off how difficult these conditions are as he heads down into a part of the track that I personally witnessed live back in 2016 through Maggots and Beckett's, and I have to say it is one of the most sensational set of corners to ever watch. It's just such a glorious place to watch Formula One, and if I'm honest with you, if we can see some overtakes through there, we might be seeing some of the best overtakes you'll see on the Formula One game, because that is a fantastic area if you want to just stick it up the inside and try and hang it, because no one ever expects it, especially through Copse as well. But currently, top of the timing sheets, the H-Eagle, who's just improved. He's 5/10 quicker than Tactician, who's in second with a 1:39.1.
Yeah, lovely lap time from the H-Eagle to go further clear on the provisional pole. Tactician jumping up from down the bottom end of the standings now up to P2 as Cherry 2 Pie goes across the line, but he's down on his quickest time, and all 17 drivers are within 2 seconds off the pole time at the moment, and I expect that to close up as it goes along. I mentioned obviously earlier on in the chat quite a bit of support for Leclerc on his debut in F2. We've now got another bit of support for Vettel Racer as well, so put in the comments who you're supporting in this race. It's great to see everybody along, it's great to see who you're all keeping an eye on, who you want to see do well, so do drop it in the chat there, and also put in who do you think's going to win this race. We'd love to hear your thoughts before we get to the 5 red lights in a bit's time. We've got 7 minutes left still of qualifying, and as you say, it's the H-Eagle leading from Tactician, VP Vettel Racer second, RC Spider on another outlap at the moment, he's in 4th. Kishki in the Renault has moved up into 5th place. Sean, the championship leader, is in 6th place with Lee Finlay 7th, Leclerc in 8th, Ash in 9th in the McLaren, and Casper rounds out your top 10. The winner in Austria currently on the cusp of the top 10.
Yeah, it's interesting this really, because we are now starting to see a lot of the guys pit. It's almost very strange. I don't know if you're feeling this as well, Andy. How weird and how coincidental that everybody comes into the pits at the exact same time. They could pit any time they want, but they've all decided to do 2 or 3 laps, and they've all decided to come into the pits pretty much around about the same time. Most of these guys, so it is quite interesting. VP Vettel is out on track, so he's decided he wants to put a few more laps of fuel. He's going to go for, you'd imagine, 3, maybe 4 runs there with just under 6.5 minutes to go. But it's all starting to get quite interesting. Dan Daniel is the only guy who hasn't set a time, but I do know from personal experience that he has got some serious pace. So he set 5 laps on them currently wet weather tyres, so maybe he's just pushing a bit too much the invalidations. But yeah, it's all starting to get quite interesting. Casper has come out on track just behind Big Parenta as well. Cherry 2 Pies on 5-lap old tyres, and he's up into 9th. But I have to say that H-Eagle's time is absolutely sensational at the moment. He is doing a real good job. But yeah, most of the guys are coming into the pits now under these wet conditions. I've got to quickly ask you, Andy, obviously Silverstone is both of our home Grand Prix, of course. I don't know if you've ever been or not, but what is your personal favourite section or corner on this track? I know I personally got my favourite, but if you was to pick one corner that you love about Silverstone.
Well, I've never been, unfortunately, but it's certainly on the bucket list, I'll tell you that much. And I've got to agree with you, if it's got to be that complex section in Maggots, Beckett's and Chaffel. Just, I can only imagine what it's like to be down at ground level and watch those cars coming in there at around about 180 plus miles an hour and just throwing it to the left, throwing it to the right, hardly any braking at all, just using the engine braking on the downshift to slow down. It must be an absolute sight. I can imagine Copse Corner is another absolute cracker as well to see, but that section is just absolutely phenomenal, and for me one of the best sections on any of the tracks that we have on the F1 calendar. Is absolutely astonishing, and when you get it right in, when you're actually doing it yourself, the smile on your face as you come down the hangar straight is absolutely brilliant when you know you've absolutely nailed it. So I've got to agree with you, never been, I will at some point though. It is on the bucket list for sure.
Yeah, it's for me personally, I remember in 2016 I was there to watch when Verstappen went around the outside with Rosberg, and it's just the amount of skill it must take for these guys. I know obviously we're watching these guys play it here. It takes a level of skill to do it on this game as well. It's a very tough track to master really. It's one of the ones where it's so high speed and you're so heavy on the throttle for such a large period of time that to master it with so much speed it's a real challenge, of course, and that's why when the esports events come around, it was one that I think most of the guys really wanted to win. But yeah, the Tactician is out on track. The H-Eagle has decided to stay in the pit. So too at the moment is Cherry 2Pie and Blizzard. Dan Daniel, while we was talking, has moved up to P8 on 6-lap-old wet weather tyres there. So that's real dedication to them tyres. I'd imagine he'll be coming into the pits, but he looks like he's flying at the moment. Oddly enough, though, he hasn't used any of his ERS. So a lot of these guys actually haven't used ERS. So maybe there's no real need for it because they're so high on the revs. Maybe the ERS is just recharging as quickly as they're using it. I'm not too sure at the moment.
Who knows? I mean, maybe some of them feel that the extra power through the wheels in these wet conditions is just a bit too much. Possibility of slipping and sliding wide, maybe. Dan Daniel finally comes into the pits, and you sometimes see that in wet weather. It's exactly what Daniel's done, is put in the wets, fill it up a wee bit more than you normally would, and just keep running round and round the track, because obviously the more cars go out, the drier that line's going to get, and even in the wet conditions it's still going to make a difference. So he's obviously decided to do that, puts himself into 9th at the moment. I'll be surprised if we see him back out, to be honest, considering there's only 2 minutes 50 to go. It's still the H-Eagle at the top. Leclerc's moved up into 2nd, 3 times down, Tactician in 3rd, VP Vettel Racer in 4th, RC Spider is 5th place. Kishki, that we're watching at the moment, coming down the Wellington straightener, he's in 6th. Lee Findlay in 7th. Some yellow flags in sector 2, probably just people slowing down, I would imagine.
And that's Nico spun. Spun.
Okay, so Nico's spun has obviously disappeared now, so he's gathered it back up. Lee Findlay in 7th. We've got Sean in 8th and an outlap. Big Parenta is in 9th, and Daniel is dropped down to 10th. Cherry 2Pie is in 11th, Ash 12th, Casper 13th, Blizzard 14th, Nico 15th, Davidos down in 16th place, quite surprised to see that, and RC Sam has just jumped up as I was talking, or has he just disappeared? Where has he gone? No, he's into 14th. And that's the first time we've seen Sam for a few races. He's been missing a few, unfortunately, so good to see him back in the second Force India, and it's good to see them back up with 2 drivers. But the H-Eagle still at top now, just while we've got this quick moment while drivers are going round head to head in the qualifying, because some of these make for interesting reading. Sean leads the battle between the Ferraris, him and Davidos. He leads 5-4. Spider 3-1 over Sam in the races that they've both been there. McGrady, who's not here this evening, 4-2 over his teammate, and Lee 6-1 in qualifying over Ash. A big difference. Jundu and Ruben are 3-3. Big Parenta, as I mentioned earlier, with Tactician 5-2 ahead in that. The H-Eagle that we're watching at the moment, currently on provisional pole, 4-3 ahead of his teammate VP Vettel Racer, about to make it 5-3 at the moment. And Cherry 2Pie 5-4 in the qualifying standings. But as I was mentioning to you, Ollie, at the start, before we came live on the air, when it comes to race heads to head for Cherry 2Pie, it doesn't make for good reading. He is 8-1 down against Casper in race to race heads to heads, which is a phenomenal big gap between them when you consider Cherry 2Pie, despite everything, he does have some pace.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame really for him, but yeah, he's got some pace. He had that pole position, of course, at Hollywood. It's a strange one. VP Vettel has gone to pole now, really doing a good job. Sean, championship leader, in 10th. Not really ideal from him at the moment. Kieski and Big Parenta have both retired from the session. So too has RC Spider, who was qualified, not too badly in 7th for him ahead of Sean, but he'll be expecting to do a bit better than that. Leclerc's doing a very good job up in 3rd on his debut. But a lot of these guys, the H-Eagle, for example, who is only 700ths of a second. I think it might just be between the H-Eagle and Vettel for pole position here today. He's just coming through the final few corners now with 5 seconds to go. Is he going to cross the line in time? I think he's going to. He's timed out perfectly. With 1 second to go, he's crossed the line and he'll be the last man to set a lap time. So if you want maximum drama, you may well have just found it. Sean is coming through the old start finish straight now, and he's got VP Vettel behind him.
Leclerc's just binned it out the final corner into the tyre wall, into the wall in the pit wall, so he's out, crossed the line, still in 3rd. Sorry to cut across you there, Ollie, but just caught it on the stream. He just lost it out the final corner and straight into the pit wall, minus a wheel.
Yeah, I think Sean is flying on his lap at the moment. He's just come through Maggots and Beckett's out of Chapel, and he's doing a real good job. In fact, Vettel was kind of on his rear end, but he's pulled away from him. And if Vettel's on improvement, you'd imagine that Sean is. So we could be seeing Sean going from 12th up quite dramatically. So I'd keep an eye on him as he heads through one of my favourite uphill. Look, it's like a 90-degree corner. It's just so blind through Stowe, but it's such a lovely corner through Farm and Vale. Oh, sorry, not through Vale, not Farm, and coming through, and it's It's one of these nice little sections. Actually, one of the slower sections. It seems to go forever. This long right-hander just goes on. And as Sean crosses the line, the car ahead of him crashes off. Sean moves up into third, but Vettel is unable to improve. Meaning all eyes go on the H-Eagle, who's gone wide out of Maggots and Beckett's, and I think it might be a slow time from him, which would make you think though that Vettel may have pole position here. They can hit a 1-2 for Sauber.
Possibly, although the timing at the top did say that the H-Eagle was 5/100ths up on his quickest time, so whether that was accurate or not, we'll soon see. He comes through the club chicane now. He's going to be the last one to cross the line, and let's see, can he beat his teammate and jump ahead? He crosses the line now, and he does. Just goes ahead of 38.98. 100ths clear, 9/100ths clear to be almost exact, of his teammate, and that is a Sauber 1-2. And if you look at it in terms of engine suppliers, H-Eagle, Vettel, Sean, Dan Daniel, it's a Ferrari engined 1-2-3-4, but H-Eagle timing that, as you say, to perfection. 1 second to go, he crossed the line, and he's made that lap count with a pole position for the British Grand Prix.
Yeah, it's a real good performance from him, of course. You know, not the first time we've had a German on pole around this track, and it's probably not going to be the last time. And it's a real good showing, though, for the Saubers to be 1-2 and locking it out the front row. For the British drivers, Lee Findlay is flying the flag at the moment for them guys. But it is the H-Eagle top of the timing sheets from Vettel, them two have been chopping and changing, and I think we're going to have a great race between the pair of them. Sean is in third, the championship leader, doing a good job there on the second row, with Dan Daniel in fourth. Leclerc's in fifth, Tactician is in sixth. Lee Findlay, as mentioned, the highest British driver, in seventh. Eighth is Kieski. Ninth is RC Sam on his return. Big Parenta is in 10th. 11th is Blizzard. 12th is RC Spider. He'll be hoping for a lot better than Casper, Davidos, Cherry Tupai, Ash and Nico round out the remainder of the grid. Of course, a fresh choice of tyres for these guys, so we'll have to keep an eye on what they go for. If I'm honest, I think most of them are probably going to be avoiding them hard blue tyres, but somebody may go for it. I'd be shocked if they do. I'd imagine we'll be seeing the first two tyres, the optimum ones, for starting on the race. But I've seen a few guys start on the mediums and then go to the softs. So the medium soft can work, but the undercut is a bit powerful around here because of the fact that the soft tyres are so much more quick compared to the mediums. But tyre degradation is actually a big factor around here.
Definitely, so I agree with you. I'd be very surprised to see anyone going on those blue tyres. The optimum strategy is the soft to the mediums, or if you can make it work the other way round. But as you say, the undercut, the overcut can be a bit too much to make that happen. But we're going to have a dry race though, and obviously that, as you say, does mean fresh tyres for everyone. Before we come on to the formation lap, 32 people watching at the moment. Thank you very much to everyone for joining us. I'm going to run you through the championship standings as they are just now before we get going. So Sean in the Ferrari is your championship leader on 135 points from the pole sitter, the H-Eagle, in second place on 96. Tactician in the Red Bull is third on 93. Then it's Casper, the winner of the Austrian Grand Prix, in fourth on 92. RC Spider is fifth place on 90 points, and then it is Lee Findlay and Dawidos following that one up, 76 and 70 points respectively. In the constructors, Ferrari lead by quite a way, 205 points to Sauber on 140, Red Bull on 131, McLaren 129, Toro Rosso 108, and Force India on 96. So that is your championship standings, and as we see the tyres, nobody's gone for those blue marked ones as you both of us expected there, Ollie. You've got the H-Eagle, VP Vettel Racer on the softs. Sean's gone for the medium tyres, as has VP Dan Daniel. Leclerc on the softs, Tactician on the mediums. Then it's Lee Findlay and Kishki both on the yellow softs. RC Sam on the mediums. Big Parenta and Blizzard on the softs. The only other one on soft tyres is Ash at the back of the field. RC Spider, Casper, Dawidos, Cherry Tupai and Nico all on the medium tyres. So Ollie, it is that time where we have to go for who is your driver to watch. Who are you picking this week then, my friend?
Well, this is it's a tough one really, because you can pick anyone, and you imagine the undercut's going to... I'm going to go for RC Spider. I think down in 12th, I think one of the higher runners on the mediums, a very good racing driver. You know, he's good in the race pace as well, so I'm going to go RC Spider. But Casper's a good shout.
Well, that's funnily enough you say that, because I'm going to go for the man behind. I am going to go for the winner last time out, Casper. Been very consistent this season, seems to be improving most of the time as well. Had cut the podiums, took the win last time, so medium tyres. He made the strategy work last time out, so I'm going to go for Casper. So we've both got a similar idea. They are quick runners towards the back of the field on the medium tyres. But if you are in the comments below, do drop who you think is going to win this race, and don't forget, if you are on Twitter, do use the hashtag AOR Hype as well. This is Apex Online Racing's F1 2018 League with Hype Energy Drinks. It is Season 16, Round 10 of the F2 tier on the PlayStation 4. It's the British Grand Prix, and we are about to get underway very shortly indeed as the cars head back to the start and finish line. There they go, the two Saubers on the front row. Sean in third, you got Daniel in fourth, Leclerc in the Williams in 5th, newcomer to the series Tactician in 6th, Lee Finley 7th, Kishki in 8th, and here we go. We've got 26 laps ahead of us here at Silverstone, and the lights are about to come on. Waiting for the 5 lights. And we are underway at Silverstone. It looks like it's been a decent start for the H-Eagle, and Leclerc getting sideways off the start line there, coming up towards the first corner. The Saubers are side by side. The H-Eagle is going to try and keep the place. Vettel racers there, Sean trying to look around the outside as they come into the loop section just now, and it looks like a good start for Lee Finley, having made up a few places as well, and Sean's pushing his way through against Vettel racer. Leclerc looking up the inside as well in the Sauber, so Vettel racer losing a place to Sean down as they come down the Wellington straight, right to the grass and right back across the racing line. The Sauber's got the inside line, they've touched, going through Brooklands. Can they keep it together? Yes, they can. Sean holds on through Luffield. Lee Finley is right behind them, having made a brilliant start, up 3 places already. He's looking feisty in the McLaren. Leclerc just in behind in 5th. This is allowing the H-Eagle to disappear. Look at this train behind Sean coming up to Copse Corner. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, almost in the one shot there, coming up to Maggots and Beckett's for the first time. We've got Tactician and Leclerc there. Tactician looked like he was going to have a move into Maggots. Leclerc looks pretty quick through here as well, but Lee Finley's able to hold that place for now. So the H-Eagle already 1.5 seconds clear. Sean up to 2nd place, Vettel racer down to 3rd, Lee Finley up 3 places, and the other big gainer is his teammate Ash, is up 6 places already to 11th as we come towards the end of lap 1.
Yeah, big loser there, Dan Daniel, who's dropped another place. Davos absolutely tonked down, lucky for a big bog start, sorry. He just didn't really get away from it, and he just dropped down so dramatically. The H-Eagle doing a great job. Yellow flags in the final sector. Kieski has lost it going through the penultimate corner. Cherry 2 Pies pitted, must have got front wing damage. He'll be probably going onto the blue harder tyres, so this is going to be a interesting. It'll be the first time we've ever seen them here in Formula 2, so it'll be nice to see how them bad boys last. Further up the grid, Nico is having a great little battle with Dan Daniel. They're getting their elbows out, they're going side by side. You've got the Williams and Blizzard getting involved as well as he heads up the inside through the arena section, and Blizzard gets the place on Casper, who's had a pretty torrid start to this Grand Prix, battling down at the tail end. I believe both the Toro Rossos actually came together at some point. You've got Nico and Dan Daniel still keeping their battle going, the Mercedes and Toro Rosso as well, so this midfield is really having some chopping and changing of positions at the moment. We've got a real good mix of drivers and all very tight, but Vettel is all over the rear end of Sean, and you'd imagine in a few laps time when DRS is available he's going to get a run, but coming through Maggots and Beckett's, coming out of Chapel, you'd think that there might be a chance of Vettel if he can get close enough to have a fresh run at Sean.
Definitely so. DRS will be enabled after they cross the line this time. Don't forget there's 3 DRS zones, one of them here down the hangar straight. We're on board with a Williams or Leclerc. Looking at the back of the McLaren, the Lee Findlay in 4th place. You can see Vettel racer and Sean just up ahead, going through Stowe Corner as they both run a bit wide. Cherry 2 Pie has gone onto those blue marked hard tyres, but he picked up a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, not getting slowed down enough, so that's going to have cost him some time as well as he'll try to make his way back through the field. So DRS now enabled as we go on to lap 3, and the H-Eagle doesn't need to worry about that though, because he's got 2 seconds clear of everybody, and Leclerc looked like he was going for the inside there but backed out of it. Sean is having to cut right across the VP Vettel racer there. It looked like he was going for the inside. Sean taking the wider line through to get a better run down the Wellington straight, but here we go, DRS enabled now. Sean's not got it. Vettel racer is closing, he looks to the inside, makes a little dummy move and decides to back out of it. You've got to be absolutely spot on to make the move through there, and he's really close now though. Those yellow marked soft tyres always be giving a bit of better grip at the moment than those white walled medium tyres on the Ferrari, so Vettel racer has got to strike while the iron is hot as they come up through Copse 170 miles an hour down to 6th gear, flying through there. And let's see if we come up towards Maggots and Beckett's now. We've got battle between Lee Finley and Leclerc. Leclerc looks really good through this section here, and he's going to get a really good run. Lee Finley's run wide, and here goes a chance for the Williams driver to get the move done into Stowe Corner. He's going to make the move. He's got the inside. It's 200 miles an hour down to about 130. A wee bit slower than that. A little push wide there. Lee gives him the space though, and Leclerc is through into 4th place. Lovely little move there from the Williams driver. And you've got Tactician and RC Sam in the background. They were having a nice little battle as well. Sean's managed to hold off for the meantime though against Vettel Racers. We go on to lap 4.
Yeah, Sean went very wide into Chapel, and that's actually got him some dirt on his tyres, which is costing quite a lot. You can see Vettel, though, he's struggling in the dirty air of the Ferrari, but he is all over the rear end. Sean, of course, on these medium tyres. A late lunge up the inside from Vettel, maybe. He's gone for it. Can he hold on to it? He's going to be able to do it, but there's contact between the rear wheel of the Sauber and the front left of the Ferrari, but the Ferrari's had to concede the place there. DRS is available for the Sauber. He's having to go ultra defensive here. The Ferrari's going to maybe lunge it up the inside. Surely not. He doesn't go for it there, and that is Vettel gaining the place. The cat was amongst the pigeons, but the German has got past the Dutchman in this situation, and he's going to be pushing on a little bit here now, and Vettel can start to focus, but the Williams behind Leclerc, who is flying, is all over the rear end of the Ferrari as well, so Sean can be finding himself in hot water, up the inside, not through Cops, surely not. He's backed out of it, but he's got more momentum. Sean has run wide there, and this is really starting to drop off for Sean. I know he's on the mediums, but he was showing great pace, and now he's under real threat from the Williams behind him of Leclerc, who's almost come out of nowhere, you know, in his debut race. He's now battling for a podium with the championship leader. He'll probably be quite happy with the way things are going at the moment. But Vettel isn't pulling away too much from Sean. In fact, Sean is flying down the hangar straight. Can he get close enough? No, he cannot. But Vettel is not pulling away on them soft compound tyres as Big Parenta has moved up past RC Sam. A great little battle between them two. Let's run you through, though, the guys who have been the biggest winners and losers. But Sean actually has lost the has got past Vettel there, as Vettel has gone wide through the final corner. As they're going to come into Abbey, Sean has got the place back done. So Vettel, they're really not taking advantage of the position gained there. And in fact, this might put him under a real threat from Leclerc. And this train is once again starting to form. And all this is doing is allowing the H-Eagle to have a very pleasant drive here in Buckinghamshire. And he's enjoying himself twofold.
Yeah, he won't be too fussed. The longer these guys battle, he'll be happy. He does lead from Sean. You can see there is Leclerc looking up the inside of Vettel Racer as well. Vettel's having to try and defend as well as attack. They're side by side coming into Luffield. The Sauber's going to run wide. The Williams sneaks up the inside. Can he get the move done? Coming down towards Woodcote and Copse. They're side by side down the old start-finish straight. Can the Williams pull ahead? Yes, he can. A lovely little opportunistic move there from the Williams, and Leclerc moves up into a podium place. This is going to help Sean a little bit because it's given them a tad of a gap now, but it's the H-Eagle leading by nearly 4 seconds from Sean. Leclerc in third, having just picked up a 3-second time penalty. They'll come into play later on as well. VP Vettel Racer we're looking at in 4th, Lee Finley in 5th, Tactician 6th, RC Spider in 7th, Big Parenta 8th, Ash is in 9th, RC Sam rounds out the top 10. But if we have a look at everything, you can see that all the way down to 16th place where Blizzard is, it is 12 seconds covering the entire field, and if you take out the H-Eagle, you're only talking about 8 seconds covering second down to 16. So got a really close race going on here at the moment into lap 7 of 26, and VP Vettel Racer got wide coming through the club chicane there. That's going to allow Lee Finley the chance to attach himself onto the back through Abbey Curve. That's where the old track used to go to the left there, and took you through the fearsome bridge corner. I used to love that corner in the old games as well. Shame that that went away, but we do still have a really fast racetrack. Vettel Racer's managed to hold off for now. He's going to have DRS to help him defend here, and that's all that's done is allow Leclerc to get away. So him and Sean have got a bit away there. Lee Finley looks to the inside. That's a late move. Vettel sees it coming, and the Sauber manages to hold off. Brakes a bit earlier into Luffield, probably wary of what happened last time with Leclerc, and there's a Tactician looking to get the better of Lee Finley. These two, the two pad runners in the league, up there in 5th and 6th, and they're not going to have a look down to Copse. Surely not. No, he's backed out of it. You're not going to go through there 160 plus miles an hour, surely not. RC Spider though is looking to the inside. Big Parenta is looking about as well as he come through Maggots and Beckett's, and that is just getting very close for comfort. But the whole field is not covered by a huge amount at the moment, and if it stays like this, that's going to be really interesting come the pit stop time. Here goes RC Spider trying to make the move on Tactician down into Stoker. Oh, bump of the wheels there between the two of them. I don't know what happened there, but RC Spider looks like he's got the move done. That is Vettel Racer, I believe, heading for pit lane. It is indeed. So the Salba's decided to pull the trigger and is the first one to come into pit lane at the end of lap 7. But that was lucky that didn't turn into a big accident. And right behind, coming out into the main straight, Ash, Tactician, RC Spam and Davidos heading up towards Abbey Curve, and they are right nose to tail. This could end in a lot of tears. There's 6 cars all side by side. RC Spider up the inside, the big Parenta. Davidos is in there as well. You can see Daniel there as well. He looks up the inside, throws up the inside of Davidos, makes the move stick. That was a late lunge there, but he made it work without any contact by the looks of it. And the midfield battle is going off like fireworks down here. Here goes Sam down towards Brooklands on the Red Bull. They've both got DRS as they go into the left-hander. Can Big Tactician hold it round the outside? So he'll now get the inside line for Luffield, and he holds on for the now, and he manages to joey sideways out, and he's bumped into Sam. Sam's off the track into the wall, and that was just a mistake there from Tactician. A small mistake, just got it sideways, and that just cost the Force India, and he's lost his front wing. Is not the best return for the Force India driver.
Yeah, on board with Leclerc, who has been putting Sean under huge pressure at the moment, and actually been pulling away quite a bit. I was wondering what was going wrong with VP Vettel. Looking further down, RC Sam has gone off, of course. That was the yellow flags. But yeah, it's interesting what actually happened to him. I don't know why he's dropped back so dramatically, but he really has, taken a bit of a plunder from where he was. He was showing great pace, and I think he's pitted, if I'm honest, a bit too early. I'm not too sure if their medium's going to last safely to the end of the race. So Vettel maybe just getting a bit frustrated, try to go for something. He's definitely going to come out in second when everyone pits because of the major undercut he's going to have. He would have had more clean air, but he's actually onto the rear end of Sam, who you'd imagine is going to be pitting pretty shortly. But Leclerc, who has been a contender here at the moment for driver of the day, just his pure brazenness at the moment. He is not living up, and he is not giving up too easily at all from what these guys are producing, and he is flying. A big shout out though to RC Spider. Up into P4 is exceptional for considering where he started. Obviously not biased at all, I promise. But Leclerc is now the man chasing down Sean. Again, I'm a little bit surprised Vettel dropped behind Sean, but he's done so, and Sean is doing a very good job on medium tyres. Who's going to win this Grand Prix? Not too sure at the moment. The H-Eagle's in the best position. Davidos is dropping down quite a lot. I think he's been involved in a bit of an incident. He's facing the completely wrong way, and he's retired from the session. So Davidos is our first retiree here today at Silverstone. It's a shame for the pole, but he's, it's going to be disappointing. He didn't have the greatest of qualifying sessions, but the wingman sadly didn't have enough wing power there to get any points today. But Leclerc is hunting down Sean, but Sean is set up perfectly for straight line speed at the moment, and he's defending very, very well. He's on the mediums at the moment. The H-Eagle is winning this Grand Prix by just under 4 seconds, but it is gaining. But you'd imagine that when everyone pits and Sean's on a fresh set of soft compound tyres, he might be able to make it count. So keep an eye on that one. But it is the H-Eagle from Sean and Leclerc with RC Spider in 4th. A big championship rivalry between Spider and Sean, of course. I believe the H-Eagle is in 2nd now in the championship, Andy. Am I correct?
You are correct indeed, yes. He's 96 points in 2nd.
Yeah, so H-Eagle is the closest rival to Sean, but you'd imagine on pure pace, I think we can both agree that RC Spider is probably the quickest guy, and considering they're both on mediums as well, it'll be the one that Sean keeps an eye on. Cherry Tupai has now retired from the session as well, so he's out of it. I'll keep an eye on RC Sam, I don't know where you watch, but I'll keep an eye on RC Sam to see when he overtakes him, to see what happened to Cherry Tupai. I think he may have lost it through Maggots and Beckett's, I'm not too sure, but Cherry Tupai is our 2nd retirement. He felt he had some pace around this track, but shame for him, he's pulled over to the right hand side of Chapel. So Cherry Tupai has obviously lost control and spun it. So Davidos and Cherry Tupai both retiring very early on in this Grand Prix on lap 9 of 26.
Indeed, Jamie in the chat saying no. Davidos obviously supporting the Ferrari driver, and who's obviously the first to retire. Cherry Tupai now the 2nd, having got caught up obviously in some sort of incident in lap 1, pitted on the end of lap 1 onto the hard tyres, and he's now out of the race, so any chance of a comeback is off for him. Kishki's been in the pits as well. Sam's obviously made it back round, so on track Out of the 15 drivers left, only 3 of them have been into pit lane. The H-Eagle, though, the leader of the race, is now in pit lane as well, so that releases Sean into the lead of the race. Leclerc's pitting as well, as is Lee Findlay, so the pit stop phase for the soft runners definitely now in full effect, but the championship leader is now in the lead of the race. He's got 3 seconds to RC Spider in second. Big Parenta's carried on in third, along with Ash, who's moved up from the back of the field. 13 places gained by the winner of the Australian Grand Prix, although he's got Dan Daniel and Tactician wanting to put him back down a couple of places if he's not careful. But he's up into 4th place at the moment on those soft tyres, so he's bound to be pitting before long as well. And you can see Daniel and Tactician coming down the Wellington Straight towards Brooklands. This is lap 10 of 26 here at Silverstone, and Sean is now in the lead. Now, can he get a bit of a gap, or can RC Spider cut into that gap off the Ferrari? Those two have had a few battles. They're the only drivers this season to have won more than once through the season. Sean's got 3 wins, Spider's got 2, both in France and Monaco, whereas Sean's won at Bahrain, Spain and Canada, I think it was, yes. So they're the only drivers to have won multiple races so far. Sam on his fresh rubber, fastest lap of the race, a 28.888 he sets. But we're coming down here watching VP Dan Daniel trying to see if he can make a move on Ash. It's a late lunge up the inside into Stowe corner, but it's a clean one at the same time. A brilliant move from the Haas driver. There's Ash going to the right hand side. He's heading for pit lane. Those soft tyres have had enough, and Big Parenta's in as well. So the soft tyres now, we expect to see Blizzard truly in this lap or the next as well. So the soft tyres are off and they are done now. So it's all about these guys that are on the medium tyres that haven't pitted yet. How far can they make them go? You'd hope they can make them to at least about lap 18, if not maybe a bit longer, just to avoid any drop off at the end of the race. And it's now a case of, can those that have pitted lap the track quick enough? Can they find some clean air to avoid getting beaten out the pits by those on the mediums later on? Lap 11 of 26, and this strategic and frantic racing on track is going to go all the way to the flag, I'm sure.
Yeah, Casper's having a great battle through Brooklands and Lovefield with Nico at the moment, almost clipping the rear wheel of the Williams driver there, but them two keeping it nice and clean. The H-Eagle has a 15-second gap to these two, so he's got enough clean air to maybe push a little bit. RC Spider and Sean's gap will keep an eye on as the two, as the Toro Rosso and Williams head through Cops. A great exit from Casper. In fact, he's flying through there as he's going to come through Maggots and Beckett's. He's lifted off slightly there just to give the guy ahead of him a bit of space so he has a cleaner run, which makes you think maybe coming through the Hangar Straight and Stowe, he might be pushing it a little bit. So let's see what he's able to do. He's got DRS, he's been showing real good pace. Nico's pulled predominantly over to the left very sharply there, quite surprising, but the pace gap that Casper is gaining is huge at the moment. He's flying through there, so maybe he shouldn't have lifted off. If he would have stuck to him, he probably would have got a good enough run, but Nico is defending just about at the moment with Tactician and Dan Daniel ahead of these two, battling quite tightly. H-Eagle there in just 2 sectors has gained a whole second. So he is flying on their mediums at the moment, as you'd imagine, 11 lap old tyres compared to 1 lap old tyres. But one thing I really want to bring up quickly is I don't really think the strategic decision from VP Vettel has actually worked out. He's got 3 lap older tyres, and now he's behind Mint Leclerc and the H-Eagle. We didn't really get the undercut. He's got Lee Findlay all over his rear end, so it's not really worked out at all there for the German. He started on the front row of this Grand Prix. He's had a bit of a disaster compared to what his teammates had, which has been pretty flawless from the H-Eagle at the moment. Apart from them early scraps, he's led this Grand Prix predominantly, you know, the entire way, other than maybe the odd swapping at maybe the arena section. But yeah, he's been pretty consistent and really doing a good enough job. So the H-Eagle, something we don't see from him very often is his consistency, and this is what he's showing at the moment, doing a really good job. He is in a provisional lead of this Grand Prix on lap 12 of 26. We're going to be coming to the halfway mark very, very shortly. Sean and RC Spider keeping themselves very keen around about that 3-second gap. It's been chopping and changing. That's kind of whereabouts it's been. Tactician is hunting down Dan Daniel, going down the Hangar Straight. Sorry, Dan Daniel might not be able to defend here against the pad runner. He's going to pull over to the left-hand side of the track. Going to go around the outside of Stowe. Dan Daniel will have the inside line, but the momentum for Tactician might be too superior for him. Tactician's pace there out of the corner is fantastic now as they're coming through the final few corners. Dan Daniel gets the inside line, but Tactician is getting very keen behind him and could well be in for a third place here very shortly.
Definitely. So DRS heading up towards Abbey Curve. This is going to be a brave move, flat out through here. Can they come through it without contact? And if somehow Daniels managed to hold the place there, going through, that was getting very, very close. Tactician picks up a penalty there for his little jump across the curb. Now, I mentioned earlier, Tactician's qualifying. He's 5-2 down on Big Parenta in that, but when it comes to races, he's 6-1 ahead. And he's also the driver that's made the biggest gains from his starting position, 3.9 places on average that he makes at the start. So he's really, really good when it comes to the race pace. Maybe not quite as much when it comes to qualifying. He's definitely quick enough in the race, and he's trying as much as he can right now. Lee Finlay and VP Vettel Racer side by side coming through the loop section onto the Wellington Straight, and the McLaren's got that move done, and DRS to pull away as well if he can down towards Brooklands, and it is just going from bad to worse for VP Vettel Racer. The early stop has not worked at all. He obviously came out behind his teammate. Leclerc jumped him as well, and now Lee Finlay on track has got ahead of the German, so he is now on the 10th place at the moment, and that is the last points playing position in this race. Tactician, and we've got in the background there's Casper going up the inside of Nico into Stowe Corner, and he's finally got the move done. Didn't get it done last time, probably followed your advice there, Ollie, and stuck to him a bit closer through Maggots and Beckett's as Nico pulls into the pit lane, and Casper now up into 5th place, and he can go chasing after the Red Bull ahead of Tactician, who is still trying to find a way past the Haas of VP Dam Daniel. Spider is 2.6 seconds behind Sean, and it's going to be within the next 3 to 5 laps. We're going to see these guys up in the top 6, top 5 now, coming into the pits to get rid of those medium tyres. They're going to be getting to the point where they're going to be screaming enough. It'll be interesting to see, because the gap at the moment between Sean and the H-Eagle is 23.6 seconds. I don't think that's enough for Sean to get back out in front. The H-Eagle should take back over the lead of this race when Sean does come into the pits, if he can keep that gap as it is for now.
Yeah, the first man to pit on the soft runners was Vettel, and the first man, the guinea pig almost, is Nico for the medium runners. He is on the softs. He's got a 4.2 second gap to Ash. I've just had a look on Twitter, and Cherry 2 Pie posted this incident. It looked like at the start that he may have got clipped on his rear wheel, trying to go around the outside going into turn 3. Was a little bit tight, and as you'd imagine, someone's made a bit of contact. He's lost the rear end, and as we know, Andy, he loves a steward inquiry, and it will probably be in there pretty sharpish. So we'll be able to see that. Probably the outcome will be done by the end of the evening. But Dan Daniel is having to defend against Tactician, something he's been doing for quite a while, as they head down the hanger straight into Stowe, the inside line this time for the Red Bull. But Dan Daniel is keeping him very keen as he hangs it round the outside. Bottas and Vettel style here, they're keeping it nice and clean, and it's Tactician who's come out on top here, with Casper breathing down their necks, just 1.2 seconds behind. The H-Eagle has now got the gap down to 11 seconds, and I mentioned how RC Spider and Sean have been chopping and changing the times, and it's been from 2.5 to 3. You can see it's back up to 3 seconds, so it looks like Sean has Spider's number at the moment. Maybe Spider is saving a bit of ERS. It doesn't really look like he is, to be fair. Maybe he's just biding his time, and on the soft tyres he can push, but Sean is doing a very good job at the moment. The longer he stays out on these medium compound tyres, the more likely he is to win this Grand Prix.
Definitely so, although I don't think Cherry 2 Pie's incident will be in the stewards, because I think they're a bit fed up with him this year, but we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that during the week, you never know. But yeah, Tactician finally getting the move done into Stowe Corner there. Got a bit sideways again, obviously just losing the back end nearly slightly, but he managed to get the move done. His teammate Big Parenta is all over the back of VP Vettel Racer as the race for the Sauber starts to go from bad to worse at the moment. And here comes the Red Bull down the straight towards Brooklands. DRS, he's up the inside there. Vettel Racer's going to try and hang it round the outside, but Big Parenta's got the move done in the Red Bull into Luffield, and that's another place lost for VP Vettel Racer. Having started in 2nd place, he's now down to 10th place, having lost 8 places in this race. He is the biggest loser so far in terms of positions lost. The biggest gainer is RC Spider, 10 places up the road, but pits for now for Spider and Sean, and Spider gets a 5-second stop go for speeding in the pit lane, so that's going to impede him slightly when it comes to getting released from his pit stop. He's going to have to wait 5 seconds before they can do anything. Tactician also into pit lane as well. That releases Dam Daniel into the lead of this race. VP Vettel Racer looking to the outside of Big Parenta down into Stowe, and the Red Bull looks to have held on, but VP Vettel Racer's up the inside. They're side by side into Club Chicane, locking up with the brakes. The Sauber gets it done, and after losing out the place last lap by the Sauber, finally gains the place back through. But where is Sean? and Spider. Let's just jump to Sean. He's back out. He's
Between
behind
Lee and
Leclerc. Yeah, so he's behind Leclerc, and Spider is actually pretty close behind, actually, despite the 5-second stop-go penalty. He's actually gained about a second there, so that's surprising. Maybe Sean had a penalty we didn't know about, who knows, but Damn Daniel leads at the moment from Casper, but the H-Eagle is your provisional leader, currently in third, because the top two have still to pit in this race, and Casper is going to try and follow Damn Daniel through Maggots and Beckett's. Daniel picks up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. We're coming into the final stages of the Grand Prix. Lap 16 of 26 here at Silverstone, and the Austrian Grand Prix winner is chasing the Haas down the hangar straight. DRS open. He's not close enough this time though. It'll be interesting to see if either one of these guys go for another lap or if they decide to pit. Daniel's actually gone for the pits. Casper carries on, so he's going to go into the lead of the race now. How many more laps could he do? That could make a big difference to how many points he gains here today. It's about roughly 25-27 seconds. He's going to drop all the way to the back of the top 10 by the looks of it if he pits now, but maybe on the fresher, softer tyres he might come back towards the end of the race because he'll have been able to stay on the, keep them fresher than those around him. So he leads at the moment. The H-Eagle in second, Leclerc is in third, ahead of Sean, the championship leader, who's fourth place at the moment. RC Spider in fifth, and Lee Finlay in sixth place, with Vettel Racer now moving up to 7th, Parenta up to 8th, Ash in 9th, and Daniel is currently 10th in the pits, and now it's Tactician in 10th as he's dropped down in the pit stop phase. Vettel Racer has still got Big Parenta all over the rear end, and the Red Bull trying to cut back through the loop section there onto the Wellington straight. He's got DRS to help him as well. He needs to be careful though, because Ash is right behind him as well with DRS. Needs to be careful. Vettel goes to the inside for Brooklands. Parenta decides to cut in. He's going to try and see if he can switch back through Luffield, but the Sauber's got this one covered, having remembered Leclerc got him earlier on in the race with that similar move, and the Red Bull drops back in for now. Lap 17 of 26. When will Casper come into the pits will be an interesting story.
Yeah, you'd be a silly man at the moment to bet against Sean winning this Grand Prix, because he is flying, especially through Maggots and Beckett's. You can see how much more grip he's got than Leclerc. He is really on it at the moment, and he's under a second, and you'd think within a lap or two he's going to be getting past that Paul Williams, who is going to be seeing the scarlet red Ferrari in his rear view mirrors very, very quickly, and it's going to get larger and larger, like the scene out of Jurassic Park. It's going to be an interesting one here for Leclerc. He needs to defend against him bravely, but at the same time cleanly, because Sean will not be taking any silly incidents. Casper is now coming to the pits. That answers your question. He's got one lap later than a lot of the guys.
Oh, sorry, Ash has just hit Big Parenta through club, and he spun him round. Parenta went up the inside, the Vettel Racer through Stowe. Vettel ran very, very wide onto the AstroTurf. They were nearly 3 wide into the chicane. Ash tried to put his nose up the inside into the right-hander. Parenta turned in, spun him round slightly, and that's dropped Big Parenta down to 10th place now. I wonder if there'll be any steward's inquiry on that, because that was a bit late up the inside from Ash. Maybe thought that Parenta wasn't going to come in, maybe seen him, but that turned the Red Bull round. And Sean gets past. I was trying to get to that there and change everything around there. There goes Sean past Leclerc there, and obviously the soft tyres having more grip than the medium tyres, so he's got 5 seconds to the H-Eagle. So on the softer compound, can he catch up? But Leclerc's not going to let him go lightly. He's actually going to look to the... No, oh, I thought he was about to have a go through Maggots and Beckett's there for a second. Thought he had the run. So the Williams is not going to give up easily, but Sean does have the grippier tyres now. Having gone for the alternate strategy, medium to soft, can he pull away from the Williams, and can he catch up to the H-Eagle? It's a 5-second gap. We're coming up to start lap 19 of 26, so he's got 7 laps to do it. It's possible, but he's not still got the attentions of the Williams behind him just now.
Yeah, importantly on that previous lap, RC Spider set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, so he is starting to fly a little bit. He's 2 seconds behind these guys. He's still at 2.5 seconds to Sean as well, so them two are pretty much even on track. It's a shame they're not closer, because we're seeing a real good battle. Sean is getting closer and closer to the H-Eagle. Yellow flags in the final sector. It's Big Parenta, who is going slow once again, so there must be something going on with Big Parenta, because the exact same section of corners coming through Vale when he's retired from the session, and that could potentially bring out a safety car, because he has done it, not in the pit lane, he's done it on the start-finish straight, heading into Abbey. So yeah, Big Parenta has retired from the session, the 3rd retirement of the session from Big Front to Cherry Tupai and Davidos are now the only retirees here. No safety car, so we're safe of that. Casper is chasing down Dan Daniel. He's on the fresh, soft compound tyres, the same as Dan Daniel, but he's going to go up the inside. Casper, much quicker driver on his day, it seems, up the inside. It will turn now to the outside. Can Dan Daniel stick it up the inside? It might just be for a solitary point, but these guys are going to battle like it's for a race victory here. The Toro Rosso has got past Dan Daniel, but they're going to keep going side by side. We're having flashbacks here of Alonso and Vettel. A little bit of argy-bargy between the tyres there, but Casper has got the place done, and he just goes through top, leading this battle, but Dan Daniel is coming straight back at him. Could we see a battle through Maggots and Beckett's? No, Dan Daniel has backed out of that one. Meaning now that Casper has to give up the place, and ahead of him though is Nico, Tactician, Ash and VP Vettel Racer, and they're all very, very tight. Migrating Host, we don't care, they're going to go side by side, heading down to Hangar Straight. No, they're not, they think better of it, but this is a very, very tight battle between this lot, and all this really is doing is just solidifying the fact that poor Vettel has had a horrendous race today. He pitted so early on their mediums, he's going to be holding the train for the rest of the Grand Prix. Lap 20 of 26, is he going to get to the end of the Grand Prix? I'll be surprised. The important battle to keep an eye on is the battle for the lead. It's Sean from the H-Eagle. It's 4 seconds between the two of them, and Sean is flying, but Leclerc behind him is keeping him very, very keen, and RC Spider isn't gaining too much at the moment, so Leclerc showing some very good pace on their medium tyres. Maybe, just maybe, could throw a little spanner in the works and maybe get involved in this battle for the lead.
He could definitely do so. Figured out the reason why Spider gained so much, thanks to Iceman and Julian in the chat. The 5-second stop go penalty will actually just be added to the race time at the end of the race for Spider rather than in the pit lane, so that's how he was able to gain there during the pit stop phase. So thank you very much guys for pointing that out to me, because I didn't realise it. You can tell I commentate on this more than I actually race it, so there you go. We're watching the battle at the moment between 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th. It is Vettel Racer, Ash, Tactician and Nico's just dropped off the back a little bit. Ash is looking to the outside into Maggots and Beckett's. That was nearly a very brave move. Pulls back in and avoids any contact, so the McLaren now is going to have DRS. He's turning the ERS up as well. ERS, DRS, that's a good way to fall over yourself. Tactician though to the outside of the hangar straight with the DRS open. He's gone through. Ash hasn't opened his DRS, now he does, and Nico's going to sneak up the inside in a McLaren as well, and Ash has lost 2 places there to Tactician and to Nico, so not a good couple of corners there for the McLaren. Looked like he was going to have a go at Vettel into the Maggots and Beckett section, and he ended up losing 2 places at the end of the Stowe corner.
Yeah, they're all keeping it very, very tight at the moment. I just think we'll quickly jump in and let people know if you're watching live. Lewis Hamilton has come second in the Sports Personality of the Year awards. Personally, though, I think that the winner should probably be Cherry Tupai for all of his amazing actions on track, especially for his series inquiries. It's worthy of a victory there. Give him the golden camera. Come on, he deserves it. So the guys are starting to spread out a little bit. Spider's starting to gain onto Leclerc, but Leclerc is dropping back. Of course, Blizzard picking up a time penalty. I hate it when time penalties play a big part, but they seemingly do quite a lot. Yellow flags in sector 1, and that's Blizzard, who is gone round. He got a corner cutting warning and he's lost it going into farms. So yeah, going through the arena section now. He's pulled out a yellow flag. It feels like we're only a couple of yellow flags away from a safety car, but on 21 or 26 it's very unlikely we're going to be seeing that. So short, we've got to answer quickly, Andy. 3.5 seconds, between H. Eagle and Sean. We've got about 5 complete laps to go and the remainder of this one. Who's going to win this Grand Prix?
Well, at the moment I'm not sure if Sean's closing just enough with 5 laps to go, so it's going to be interesting to see if he can do. Obviously, if you are in the chat as well, drop down your driver of the race. Me and Ollie will drop down ours at the end of the race there. We're watching Tactician trying to have a look at VP Vettel Racer around the outside into Stowe corner. He decides to back out of it. Ash has got the attentions of Casper now, having lost 2 places in the last lap. You can see Tactician going up the inside of VP Vettel Racer there, and the Red Bull's got the move done, so that's a move done into the club chicane. Nicely done from the Red Bull, and he moves up into 6th position. Vettel Racer dropping down. Nico is now going to have a go at the Sauber as well, coming through the Abbey curve, through Farm and up towards the loop section. Turn 3, and the Williams goes to the inside, lately pulls out there. The Sauber gives enough room, and thankfully no contact made, and then late up the inside again goes the Williams, but he's not going to get the greatest of runs out the corner, but he's going to have DRS, but so will the Sauber, and Nico is still pushing this one as much as he can. Here we go down the Wellington straight towards Brooklands. Vettel Racer goes to the inside to defend. Ash is right behind him as well. He's going to try and sneak up the inside, but he doesn't. Nico runs a bit wide there. Ash looking to the outside in Luffield, and here goes Casper up the inside of Ash as well. He's going to try and be opportunistic to make his way through. Ash is now stuck in a bit of a box behind the Williams with the Toro Rosso to the side, and they're not going to go through cops side by side. Surely not. This could be brilliant, or tears Oh, they've managed to keep it together. Well done, guys. Now we're coming up to Beckett's and Maggots, and Casper's got the inside line. He's going to hold on. They're side by side. There's slight touch. And Ash manages to hold it. Casper's still there, though, and he's got the move done. Brilliant driving from both of them, though, got to be honest. Ash is going to try and gain the place back straight away. He's basically pushing them NASCAR style down the hanger straight. Pulls to the outside for Stowe. Does he make a late lunge? Casper just sweeps round the outside. And that was some fantastic driving from both of them there. Well done to both of them for not causing a huge accident. And there goes Daniel up the inside of Ash, and he's going, oh, he's holding on there. The camera angle on the nose there, not giving me the greatest of views, but Ash and Casper, brilliant bit of action there, all the way side by side through Copse, Maggots and Beckett's. Brilliant stuff.
Yeah, this is what it's all about, and now Casper is hunting down Nico and Vettel, and Vettel has been doing a valiant job. We've got to give him credit where it's due, because he's been defending very, very well, but the train he's starting to form has actually caused a bit of damage, a bit of a ricochet effect there. The Toro Rosso went into the Williams went into the Sauber there, and they're all starting to bunch up quite a lot down there. You can see Tactician is going to be enjoying a bit of a gap, but look how tight all these guys are as they battle for the last remaining points in this Grand Prix. It looks like the Toro Rosso Casper has gone very wide there. So Casper has lost it. Ash has now gone wide as well, letting him through, it seems like. But they're all chopping and changing positions here. This is just pure chaos at the moment. And if this keeps on going on, Kieski behind is going to be thinking he can get involved. But they're all heading through Copse now. Vettel is going to defend against Nico once again. Something he'll be sick of doing. Defending is going to be his biggest enemy at the moment. But it looks like the H-Eagle has got just enough at the moment. He's going to be holding on to this Grand Prix with victory. Sean's tyres are coming to the end of their life, and it looks like the H-Eagle is going to be having a very, very dominant Grand Prix victory. Maybe RC Spider can gain onto Leclerc and get that final podium, but Nico is all over Vettel, who's gone defensive. He's gone for a late switchback up the inside of Stowe. Surely not. He's going to keep it here. They're going to go side by side. A little bit of margin between the two of them, but it's nice and clean as they're going to come through Vale. Who's going to get the upper hand here? Around the outside goes to Williams. It turns to the inside line. Can Vettel stick with him on his old medium tyres? No, he cannot. He's dropped down to 8, and he is under serious threat from a Haas behind, who is flying, and that is Dan Daniel, his VP teammate there, his comrade in arms, and they're going to have to defend. But Casper now is going to take advantage of Dan Daniel's poor line as they come through the arena section. Later on the brakes, almost running into the rear end of Vettel was the Haas there. Casper dives up the inside. He's on the fresh set of the soft compound tyres. This midfield scrap has been sublime at the moment. Casper are going to try and stick it with Dan Daniel. They're going to go Bargy wheel to wheel. He's unable to do it. You can see ahead though. Nico is trying to cut that slipstream, and now Casper is going to be under threat here from Ash. He's lost the place to Ash, but Ash is now coming back at him. The Haas is held on to the place. Ash has moved up, but the Sauber has caused damage. Vettel has got damage. He's dropped back. No, he's not. In fact, sorry, that was a little glitch on my screen. Sorry. It's just all pure chaos at the moment. Ash now going side by side up the inside. Surely not free abreast in the Copse. They're going to go for it. Free abreast. It's side by side. Can Casper stick with it? He's done it. He's done it. Vettel though dropping down the 10th though. He's got Dan Daniel behind him, and this is just pure chaos in 24 as Vettel has gone very wide, going through Maggots and Beckett. Oh no, it's not. Oh, this is just horrible for me. I'm not sure about you. He just keeps on jumping in and out, and oh, honest to God, there for the third or fourth time, I thought that he'd lost control of the car and he's gone off. But Vettel now, he's down in 11th place. Further ahead, Ash and Casper battling side by side. A little bit of barge in there. Casper has been pushed off a little bit. They're going to still go side by side. Please get the manoeuvre done so he can take a bit of a break. He's got it done. Casper's up into 8th. His next target is Nico, and I don't think I can do this again. We're on the penultimate lap. Andy, please, let me have a break.
Tag out. That was unbelievable. I thought they were going 3 wide through Copse for a minute. I was about to have a heart attack. But yeah, we're on to the penultimate lap of the race, but some brilliant stuff there. The reason Ash did drop back, he felt he did bump into Casper a couple of laps ago and probably decided to be the fairer driver there and just drop back and give him the place back. He's managed to jump back ahead, so he's now ahead of Daniel and Vettel. RC Spider though is now catching up to the back of Leclerc for the final podium position. 9-lap-old soft tyres against 15-lap-old mediums. The H-Eagle though looks like he's on his way to his second victory of the season. Took first victory at China earlier on this season, so it looks like he's on his way to his second victory of the season here. He's about to start his final lap in just a moment's time. That midfield scrap between Nico, Casper, Ash, Daniel and Vettel race has just camped down for a minute to give ourselves a breath back. But Kishki, as you mentioned, is now dropped onto the back of this, so we've now got basically 6 cars fighting over the final points paying position. So this is going to go all the way to the end of the race for sure. The H-Eagle though is on his final lap of the race as Blizzard sets the fastest lap of the race, a 1 minute 27.8, showing that he does have some good pace in that car. Tactic is Casper goes the lot. He's off the track there. He's going to have to give that place back to Nico surely, unless he felt he was pushed off the track, but he just caught the end of that there. Casper getting through on Nico, and Kishki up the inside. The Vettel racer now, the Sauber going backwards even more. He's now outside of the points. The Renault getting through, and I wonder, has that Sauber maybe got some damage? You mentioned obviously, like it was for me, he was jumping about the screen. I wonder if maybe there was some contact and that's what's caused some of the problems, who knows. But Casper is now ahead of this train, and he's got Nico and Ash. Nico getting sideways coming out onto the Wellington straight. Ash is going to have a brilliant run down here, and Nico, that was nearly a double move there, but Ash managed to avoid an incident. Nico holds on for the meantime. Ash is going to try and switch back up the inside, but they come through Luffield and they've managed to keep it together for now, and they're coming up towards Cops. The H-Eagle though is heading down the hangar straight, I do believe at the moment. I'm just going to quickly follow here with Ash as he tries to go with Nico side by side into Cops corner. They're not going to go round, nope, he pulls back in to try and switch back. He's going to have to hold on for the meantime. It's allowed Casper to get away, and they're going to hold on for now. But the H-Eagle here coming up through the club chicane for the final time. He took pole position in the wet conditions. It has been a fantastic race for him, and he takes his second victory of the season. He wins the British Grand Prix in the Sauber. Brilliant stuff. Sean takes second place, Leclerc in third, RC Spider in fourth, and here comes Lee Findlay to complete the top 5. He goes across the line. He actually jumps ahead of Spider due to the time penalty, so Lee Findlay up to 4th. His run of podiums comes to an end. Tactician takes 6th. Casper in 7th. Ash managed to get ahead of Nico down the back straight, I'm guessing. He takes 8th. Nico in 9th. Vettel Racer does take 10th due to penalties for Daniel and Kishki, having fell behind them on track. Kishki 11th, Daniel in 12th. Here comes RC Sam. He's actually a long way back. He's just coming through Woodcote right now. Blizzard has finished the race, but he was a lap down, so Sam will be the final one to complete the lap, but he's still got half a lap to go. He's just coming through Cops. But it's a second win of the year for the H-Eagle, and that's going to close the gap on Sean by 7 points. But Sean making sure that it's as minimal as possible by taking second place. So brilliant stuff from the H-Eagle to take the victory there. Sean in second, and Leclerc on his debut, a fantastic third place. I've got to ask you though, Ollie, before this stream finishes, before we go into the interviewing drivers, driver of the race, who you got?
It's a tough one, really is, because I think there's a few guys you could say have done a really exceptional drive. I think for battling as well, I feel like we need to have 2. I feel like for the best driver of the day has to go to H-Eagle, considering the way he done it. He done a very exceptional job to get his way into the top spot. But I think being involved in the battles, I think Vettel deserves a lot of credit, because he was involved on old medium tyres for a consistent amount of time. I know he started on the front row, but he did get involved in the battles quite nicely, and the celebrations for the H-Eagle will be pretty tremendous here today. Not a single British driver on the podium. That's going to throw a little bit of anguish in there. So we'll run through the classifications. It is the H-Eagle who makes it a perfect race for him today. He takes the race victory, and he gets pole position as well. No fastest lap, of course. That was stolen by, I believe,
Blizzard.
Casper got it. Oh,
I think Blizzard. Yeah, I think he went. I think he pitted second time. I think he went on the soft tyres. Yeah. So,
well, it's the H-Eagle from Sean. Leclerc in 3rd, Lee Findlay 4th, RC Spider in 5th, Tactician is in 6th, Casper in 7th, Ash is in 8th, 9th is Nico, 10th is Vettel, 11th is Kieski, 12th is Daniel, RC Sam is in 13th, Blizzard is in 14th, and then the retirees are Big Parenta, Cherry Tupai, and Davidos, who all retired pretty early indeed. A hell of a lot of penalties as well, so credit to every single one of the drivers. I believe it's H-Eagle, Sean, Lee Findlay and Casper all didn't pick up penalties, and that's a pretty tough task to go by. We're going to start to get the drivers in for the interviews. So far we do have Sean here. We'll try and get the H-Eagle and Leclerc here. I'm not sure if Leclerc's aware of the interviews. It's only his first race, so he might be a little bit behind, but hopefully we can get the H-Eagle in there for an interview. I think the last time we had the H-Eagle in for an interview was when the Monaco CSR Hamilton stuff happened, so maybe we left him a bit of a bad taste, Andy.
it's quite possible. Who knows? We'll see if he comes in just a moment. But a lovely victory for him. Second of the season. He becomes the third driver to win multiple races after Sean and RC Spider. Annoyingly for me, RC Spider finished further up than Casper, so you now jump another place ahead of me in our little battle. I'm sure you're happy at that, of course. What's the score now?
7-3.
Ah, yeah. Just say that without any need there. Okay, fair this. But hopefully we can get a few more of them in to join us. So I know Sean is already in the chat, and I know you'll be getting the interviews underway very shortly. Hopefully Leclerc, if he is, I think he's actually watching the streams. I just seen him comment, I believe, in the chat. So if you are listening, Leclerc, you can. If we're going to maybe try and see if we can get you in to have a chat, unless of course you're not feeling up to it, it's totally fine, but it would be lovely to hear from you. Fantastic debut in the league for him. I think, for me, driver of the day, H-Eagle, pole and victory. It's kind of hard to go against, but Leclerc did some, right up there fighting away on his debut. He had nothing to go off, me and you, about how he was going to conform or anything, and he stuck it on the podium in his debut. So I'm like you, I'm going to have to give it a 2. I'm going to have to give it to H-Eagle and to Leclerc. But Sean done a great result as well, making it second place, only 7 points lost to the H-Eagle there in the championship, and running the alternate strategy, medium to soft. So he's done pretty well in that indeed. I'm going to let you start to crack away with the interviews. I'm going to try and get the points before the end of the stream.
Well, yeah, it was a pretty good race, you've got to say. It's the final race of the year, so they'll be going into the Christmas break, some happier than others. And the man who's probably going to be happiest is going to be the man who has joined us right now. It is Sean. Sean, championship lead, a second place. Considering you started on the mediums, you were so close to getting the race victory, but just wasn't to be. How did it go today?
Well, I'm quite disappointed that I didn't get the result I wanted, because I really hoped with the medium stint I would have got at least a win. And that was I really hoped for. The start, the getaway was a nice with Vettel racer. A little bit of contact in the corner, but I forgot to downshift to third gear and I was stuck in fourth, I believe. So not really that great, but after that I could then push on. But Eagle was just such in a consistent mood. I couldn't even gain when his tires were old and I was on the medium. So that was quite disappointing. And even in pits I was held up. So a little bit down by that. But if I had 2 more laps in it, I would for sure overtaken, but it's not happened. But second place, I will take it as it is.
Me and Andy were discussing about who your closest rival was, and we were talking about on raw speed. We think that RC Spider is probably the quickest guy compared to you at the moment. Who do you look at as your biggest rival when you look at the performances and where everyone's qualifying? Who do you keep an eye on?
Well, yeah, normally the Eagle and normally RC Spider, because they are, I think, second and third in the standings, I believe. Even though I have quite a margin, but I still watch them over and how they do in quali and in the race. So, but normally I don't focus that much because I only focus on my own race, and I want to see my own results rather than because I will be more busy with their results rather than mine. So, yeah, the rivals are probably going to be Eagle and Spider at the moment.
Well, congratulations on a pretty good race there, starting on the mediums to the soft. We now have the race winner here with us, H-Eagle. Eagle, it was a, I mean, I wouldn't say dull race, but it was a bit of a, I don't even want to say a slow race. It was just, a very consistent and calm race from you.
Yeah, I'm really happy. It's what I hoped for, because the decision was start on soft or mediums, and my goal was to push away with the soft at the beginning, to break the DRS and have a calm race, hopefully. And yeah, actually, that's what happened.
So when you got pole position, was you confident that you could lead this and win this Grand Prix, even when you saw Sean was on the mediums?
Yeah, I was not sure, actually. After the first lap, I was really happy because Vettel and Sean had a little bit of a fight, so I could push away. And yeah, then I waited for lap 16, I believe, where Sean pitted, so to see the gap. And yeah, from there on, it was only thing to have no penalties. I had 2 warnings at that point, so I was a little bit cautious. And yeah, at the end, it was on us.
Well, you've ended the year on a high, winning your second Grand Prix of the season. 2018 has been What a really successful one for you, you could say, especially this season, season 16, and starting the challenge with Sean. Do you think, though, going into the new year, new set of tracks, the second half of the season, going from round 11 onwards, you can, maybe push on and win or at least have a chance of winning the championship?
Before the season, I said I want to score points consistently, and that is what I've done at this point. And when I can do that in the second half as well, I think that we have a close fight until the end, and that is what I really hope for.
Well, congratulations on a very good win. We'll quickly pop to Sean once again. The man who's leading the championship and pretty much dominated 2018 season 16 here. Sean, New Year coming up, Christmas as well. You have a nice big break to look forward to, but you're going to be coming back in 2019. What's your goals going into the next stage of the season, the second half in the new year?
Well, being as drunk as possible and drive around the tracks, but I think I'm not going to get the results that I wanted. But yeah, I think just the same I always did, like at the start of the season, just be consistent and getting top 5s at least every race. That would be good for the points, getting the most amount of points. But I think just podiums and wins, just as normal. Just keep on pushing.
Well, congratulations on a pretty successful 2018. Obviously, not just the season we've had, but obviously in general to both of you, of course. We'll see you two both in 2019. Andy has been doing the frantic maths on the championship, so this will be the last time you hear from me in 2018. So I'd say a big thank you to everyone, and we'll see you, and I will see you in 2019. Andy, over to you.
Well, I was just going to say, actually, did Leclerc not jump into this lobby? I'm sure I've seen his name somewhere.
He did, and then he left. He did, and then he left. I don't know why.
Right, okay, no problem at all. Fair enough. I was thinking there you'd missed it, but that's fine, no worries. So yeah, I've managed to get the championship standings up to date. So obviously, of course, Sean still leads the championship. 153 points he is now on. The H Eagle is still in second place, but it's 121 points, so it's a 32-point gap now, coming down by 7 points. Tactician is still in third place in 101 point. RC Spider jumps up 1 place. He's now on 100 points, jumping ahead of Casper into fourth. Casper in fifth on 98. Lee Findlay still in sixth place on 88. Dowda still in seventh on 70 points, and Ash jumped up 2 places to 8th place now on 57 points. And in the Constructors' Championship, Ferrari now on 223 points from Salba on 166. McLaren have now jumped Red Bull for third place, 145 to 139 there. Toro Rosso still in 5th, 114, and Force India on 106. But as you said earlier, yep, it is obviously the final race before the Christmas and New Year period, and a lovely race it was to finish off as well. Some really good action on track, and a win and a pole for the H Eagle as well, taking his second win of the season to double up with the Chinese Grand Prix. But that is going to do it for the coverage here today, and for myself and from Ollie, all the drivers, and from all the staff and everyone involved at AOR, a very Merry Christmas to you all, and a Happy New Year as well. We will see you in the new year for round 11, the German Grand Prix at Hockenheim. But until then, my name is Andy, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Ta-ra.